Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority.
8:37 on the Morning Majority. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Ham here. Talking to Shannon Bream from Fox News Channel this morning. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning, and my first question is, where are the boiled peanuts?
I know, I was just about to say that. I believe you were promised some on this show, and
You didn't take them?
I specifically...
I thought you were going to take some to her.
You gave me one bag, sir, and I very generously saved a portion for Shannon Bream.
Shannon, I may have messed up. I apologize.
You'll have to go back to South Carolina.
I bet I can get some in Florida. I'll bring them back from there.
Yeah, you probably could. It's warmer down there, too. I actually did save a portion for you, Shannon, so we should set it up.
No need. Thank you for thinking about it, Brian. That was sweet for you to bring some back from Mary Catherine.
Yes. Well, we can enjoy them together at some point. I want to ask you about the Supreme Court recusal issue. Many conservatives and many legal experts, not unreasonably, have argued that because Elena Kagan, Supreme Court Justice, was formerly Solicitor General arguing in favor of parts of Obamacare, or the Health Care Act, that she should not be involved in the case against it at the Supreme Court. Where does this stand right now?
Well, the critics who think that she shouldn't be hearing this case are pointing to a couple of things. And you're right. When you've been Solicitor General, you're going to be involved in so many immediate cases right before you join the court, if that's concurrent. And she has recused herself from a number of cases where she felt that she was substantially involved and there was a conflict. So she's not hesitant to do it, certainly. But they're pointing to a case in 2010 when she was Solicitor General. It involved a local health care ordinance out in San Francisco. It wasn't directly on point with the national health care law, but the Solicitor General's office was asked to file a brief in the case. They did, and the President's health care law had just been passed, and they were touting it and talking about it, and there was, subsequent to that, a memo once she was nominated to the Supreme Court internally at the Solicitor General's office that listed the cases she was substantially involved with. That San Francisco case is on the list, and it notes that it was discussed with her several times. So those who say she's too close to this issue are pointing to that case, saying it's, proof that she has argued legal strategy when it comes to the health care bill. Folks on the other side say the issues in that San Francisco case and the case now before the court are so different that it doesn't present any conflict from her. And, of course, she shows zero signs of not being involved in this case.
On what timeline would that be figured out?
Well, actually there was a group called Freedom Watch, you may be familiar with them, who went to the court and asked specifically for time to argue about this recusal issue. That motion was denied. Justice Kagan did recuse from that decision. She did not vote. But that was denied earlier this week, so it sounds like it's a settled issue. I mean, Chief Justice John Roberts came out in his end-of-the-year report acknowledging there are all these outside groups asking not only for Justice Kagan but also for Justice Thomas on other grounds to step down. And he sort of chastised them, saying, I have complete confidence in my colleagues' ability to make their own decisions. These are jurists of the highest ethical standards, and basically back off.
Where do we stand right now on the request before the Supreme Court? I think I know the answer to this. The request for the Supreme Court to allow cameras to do the big health care debate.
I know a number of different media organizations have asked for that. I know that, they're even asking just that we have the oral recordings from that day be released the same day. And in cases past, the court has done that, but I would not hold my breath on the cameras. It's something that folks are going to fight for long term, but I don't think you're going to get that approved before March.
And were you surprised at the outcome of that GPS case? I mean, it was 9-0,
right,
and a very forceful opinion written by Antonin Scalia.
Yeah, and, there were some concurrences. There was some disagreement about how the 9 got to that conclusion, but they all got to the same conclusion. Hey, if police are going to put a GPS tracking device on your car, they've got to have a proper warrant. I mean, they seem united in their respect for the Fourth Amendment and the ability and responsibility to protect the privacy of American citizens. So I don't think, having sat through the arguments, it wasn't a surprise. The 9-0 may have been a surprise, though.
Talking with Shannon Bream from the Fox News Channel. Are you from Florida? I know you went to Florida State, right?
I am.
Okay.
Born and raised.
All right. So help me with this one, because we've been talking about this morning. Because Florida can be kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it can.
It's a state that has Marco Rubio as a senator. Now, granted, he won a statewide election. It's also a state that had Alan Grayson. It's a state that has Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It's a state that goes red, it goes blue. Where is that state? Can you help us figure out what the heck goes on in that state? And now they're saying
It's tall order.
now it's it's winner take all in Florida. Other people are saying, well, it was not supposed to be winner take all in Florida. Can you just help us understand Florida?
I wish that I could. I'll do my best.
Okay.
I grew up all over the state of Florida, and as you all know, I mean, there are parts that are very rural, that are cattle farms, that are very deep south. There are parts that are full of new immigrants that are very multicultural. There are a lot of folks in the older population, but there are a lot of young people too in the universities and the schools. And I mean, it's such a mismatch of all kinds of different wonderful things, in my opinion. But it's really hard to pin down because there are such diverse economic interests, diverse national backgrounds. You've got the age spectrum. People do think primarily of Florida having a lot of older people, but the truth is, there is a balance there. There are pockets that are certainly older voters, and they are certainly the most motivated voters, history shows us.
But can you get a trend out of it right now? Because, look, if it goes for Barack Obama in 2008, and then a couple of years later Marco Rubio wins, where is it going that way? Or is it, just kind of like the polls that we have now with the Republican primaries, where if you don't like what you see, it's going to, two days later, it'll change?
Exactly, and I think that's the thing that's been so surprising is these huge mood swings of voters, whether it's South Carolina or Florida, that we've seen over the last few weeks. I mean, literally, you guys get the same things we do, I'm sure, 2 or 3 new polls every single day. And it looks like there's a bit of schizophrenia going on down there.
It sure does.
It is amazing. All right, before we let you go, this is something we had talked about before the show. I haven't got into it yet. There's apparently a trend in New York, and I know you go up to New York a lot, of guys wearing their hair in a bun.
It's called a man bun.
A man bun.
Yes.
Now, how would you feel if, some guy had a bun in his hair? Is that something that would be okay with you, or is that just kind of
it's
creepy?
a free country. I love that we have our freedom of expression, whether it's fashion or otherwise. It wouldn't be my personal taste.
See, I'm defending the guy.
I'll be very frightened if my husband shows up with the man bun.
I'm going to co-sign that one.
But here, I defend the bun, because guys wear ponytails all the time, and nobody thinks that's girly, really, for the most part. I mean, you have strong, strapping men who wear ponytails, and it's just like, all right, these guys got a ponytail. So what's the difference between a ponytail and a bun?
It is a convenient way to put up one's hair.
I
will say that. I do question the New York Times' use of reporter resources to report on how a man actually makes his man bun, because that's in the story.
Right.
Oh, actually, how?
Yes, she explains how to make a bun, and how men make a bun, which is the same way women make a bun.
Well, it's a very complicated procedure.
See, you only get questions about how crazy Florida is and whether or not guys can wear their hairs in a bun on this show.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm no fashion plate or a trendsetter, but if either of the Bryans start showing up with a man bun, I want photos.
I'll keep you posted.
All right, but we'll get you those boiled peanuts too, okay?
Yes, man buns and boiled peanuts.
All right, thank you, Shannon. It's always great to have